So I was shocked by this.
It's pouring, not
Adult
bleach.
men peeing in pools with other men. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one shocked by this.
You were telling me a story right before we started about something.
This is pretty gross.
Let's hear it.
Okay. I don't even know what you did to remind me of that story, but there was this one time, this is one of the grossest things. Oh,
I got a cat hair in my coffee.
you got a cat hair, and I was like, is it a bug?
Absolutely
so
not.
this one time, I woke up really early in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and I just was like a zombie, and I made coffee, get my coffee, pour it into my cup, sit down, I'm gonna play some Destiny, just had like a nice relaxing Saturday. I take my first sip, and there's something in my mouth, and I spit it out, and it's a fucking spider.
No, I don't like that.
It was.
Was it alive or dead?
It was dead.
Oh,
I mean, it was like hot coffee, like boiling hot coffee.
yeah, but you never know. Some spiders are resilient.
It was the grossest thing.
That is my fucking nightmare.
I dumped all the coffee out and I cleaned the coffee maker. I ran it through so many cycles because I didn't know was it in my cup? Was it in the coffee maker? I had no idea. And it took me, it was like 2 hours of cleaning a coffee maker to make sure I was never, ever going to get another spider in my mouth.
Dude.
So when you just like ran to the sink because you were like, something's in my mouth, that was what triggered that for me.
That reminded me of, this is like a, I'm going to admit some poor hygiene on my part. When I was about 19,
Okay.
I had very long hair, and sometimes there was knots in my hair. And yeah, I wasn't the best. I brushed it, but like, I was not good at taking care of long hair. It was a lot of hair. It was hair down in my butt. And I was eating something at some point, and all of a sudden, I feel a bug crawling into my mouth forcefully. My mouth is closed, and I feel the bug going into my mouth forcefully. And I lost my fucking mind, rightfully so. It was terrifying. I've never had a bug do that to me. And then I realized it was because I swallowed a piece of my hair that had a knot in it, and the hair was going down with the food, and the knot was forcing its way into my mouth. And shortly after that, I cut off my hair.
So gross.
Disgusting. You know who you can thank for that? You don't know him, but Brian. I've told you about Brian.
Yeah.
He was like, you're going to get so many more ladies if you cut your hair. And I didn't. But he was the bro. He was like, you got to cut it, man. Even though I still think I looked okay with it, I probably just didn't take good enough care of it.
You do have to take it. Long hair takes so much.
It's so much work. And I have long curly hair, curly ass hair.
Yeah.
And then also one time I was in Israel and I was drinking an icy, something the equivalent of an icy, and I had a big chunk of ice. I went, that's some hard ice. I spit it out. It was a wasp.
Oh my God.
Dead wasp. Because it's cold. They don't like hot or cold, the bugs. So, welcome back to both of us.
Yeah.
We're here again. Are you happy to be back? Or are you tired of doing this already?
No, I'm happy to be back. I'm not happy about just today in general because I drank too much last night and I ate Brussels sprouts, and I guess that makes me want to die. So
Brussels sprouts are great. Drinking can be great. I guess you drank in excess.
Yeah, I didn't think I did, but like you said, getting old, so
yeah,
it's hitting me a lot harder.
There
is something about Hop Dottie margaritas.
I've never had one.
They're so strong.
Oh, well, that's good because it's expensive.
Yeah, oh yeah, but they're deceptively strong. Like, you don't think they're that strong, and then you're just shit-faced.
We should try to get drunk sometime. I have a really hard time getting drunk. Unless I am, like, making it a goal, I really, like, can't. I really struggled. But it'd be fun.
I'm down.
I like drinking, but it's never, like, I always have, like, 2 or 3 drinks. I'm like, why did I drink? I don't feel any different. I wish I did.
Man, that's weird.
I'm huge.
That sucks.
I'm humongous.
Yeah.
Drinking. I have a great drinking buddy, Grace. Every time we're drinking, she's like, drink all this water every time. She's like, you have to drink
Yeah.
all this water. So I would say never. I haven't gotten a hangover in a long time.
Okay. I'm gonna move this real quick.
This is not really related, but it reminded me of a question that I've been thinking about to myself. And I'm going to use, this could be any food, but I'm going to use a sandwich as an example. So say you order a sandwich, whatever the sandwich may be, and your intent is to eat the whole sandwich. The place that you've gotten the sandwich from has cut it in half. However, it is clear that the two halves are uneven. You have one large half and one smaller half.
Mm-hmm.
Which half are you eating first? Or is just even thinking about this disordered eating?
I think that's disordered eating.
Do you have a preference?
No, I have no
Really?
strong preference.
You would just pick one or the other every time?
I mean, I'm eating the whole sandwich.
Yeah, but which are you starting with? Small or large?
It doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't?
No.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why does it matter? Why does it? No, that's not weird. Why does it matter to you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's my thought process is like, if I eat the small one and I'm still hungry, I got the big half to look forward to. If I eat the big one, it's only half a sandwich, a little bit more. I'm still probably going to be hungry, and then I look at the small half. I'm like, damn, it's not a lot left. It's disordered eating.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'm surprised to hear you don't have a preference, though. I feel like that's every time I look at my two halves of sandwich, I'm like, I want the small one first, the big one to be the finish.
That thought that has never occurred to me.
Yeah,
Never had that thought.
I have problems.
That's a bummer.
Well, I mean, it's not the end of the world to think about which half of your sandwich you're going to eat first.
No, it's not. But
if you get two slices of pizza, one small, one's big, you eat the small one first?
I'm gonna eat both slices of pizza. It doesn't matter though.
What about if you're hungry?
So my problem is I will almost always eat whatever's in front of me. I don't really think about the order I eat because I struggle with binge eating a lot.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, leftovers are almost not a concept to me.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's not good.
No.
I have been like splitting food with Grace when we go out more, which is actually nice. Because we can order an appetizer and then an entree and then be like, "You want dessert?" Sure, because then we have room for all of the things.
Yeah.
Instead of like,
that's a foreign concept to me.
It's weird. I'm a person who's like, I want the whole chicken sandwich, but sometimes it's okay. Bless you.
Oh man, I'm already feeling the cats today.
Get some Benadryl in you, bro.
I can't do a fucking podcast on Benadryl.
Yeah, you can.
No, the drowsy medication really fucks me up.
Get a non-drowsy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I don't. I can stock the house up with non-drowsy Benadryl if you want.
I just didn't think it was going to hit me like this today.
So what have you been doing the past 2 or 3 weeks that we've been gone? I mean, it's been like 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, we haven't talked in a while. Not a whole lot, to be totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
There's not been really any games out that I wanted to play. Ever since we recorded that bit about Slay the Spire, I just went back and played some Slay the Spire.
Pretty fun.
It was really good.
I should probably tell you, I experimented with other characters.
Did you?
I like the knife throwing lady and the poison lady.
Yeah.
The same thing. I tried the first one, the melee guy. It's okay. It's fun to stack strength. And I did not like the fourth one, the stance switchy lady.
That's my least favorite class too. It's a very powerful class, but it's a little clunky to play.
Yeah.
It can be kind of frustrating. No, I decided because I had gotten all the characters to various levels of the Ascensions, but I never pushed to 20, which is the cap, I think. So I was trying to take the defect to Ascension 20.
The best character.
It is the best character. Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
But man, those Ascensions are really hard.
They're hard.
What have you been doing?
I've done a couple things. So I went on one trip to another country. I don't want to say too much, but I had a really good time. I can tell a few things. On this trip, I got to go skeet shooting. That was dope.
You ever been before?
No,
It's
but
fun.
I shot a lot of skeets. Pretty good. Pretty good time. Yeah, I would like to. Like, that's such a cool, fun thing to do, but like, it's kind of expensive
Yeah,
to
you have
just
to
do.
be.
I wish we were rich.
Yeah, you have to have jobs.
um, I met some cows and some sheeps.
Okay,
Lovely
cool.
animals. I also met and pet a deer. Very nice deer. Farm deer, not a wild deer. I wouldn't pet a wildlife.
Great talking to you. You take care. Hey, listen, get out of here.
Hmm.
Also got to go to a falconry center, and I got to like do the thing where you have the owls and the falcon fly to you, and that was
You
really
sent me
fun.
that picture. That was cool.
That's pretty cool, man. It was a
I'll
lot of fun.
maybe put that picture up if that's not going to
Yeah,
cause issues.
yeah, I can do that. So it was a good time. And then I came back, and then immediately went on another trip. But I planned these trips. Well, the first trip I planned, but the second trip I planned before I lost my job, so it was already paid for. I was like, I'm going to go on it anyway.
Yeah.
It was a trip I bought for Grace for her birthday, and it was a trip to Zion National Park, which is in Utah. It's beautiful. We went to, like, you have to fly into Las Vegas and then you road trip. So like the road trip through Utah was fucking awesome, man.
It's a beautiful state to drive through.
Yeah, man. And then we also went to Grand Canyon on like a spur of the moment on the way back. Only added like 5.5 hours to our trip, but it was pretty dope.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've never been to either, and both are really impressive. Grand Canyon is fucking enormous.
Mm-hmm.
It's people say you can't really capture on pictures. They're right. I mean,
Yeah.
it is like it's like looking at a mountain range but inverted.
Mm-hmm.
It's humongous. And I really hate heights, and you can go right up to the edge. And I really had those moments where I'm like, I'm going to fucking die. Apparently, a lot of people die because
Yeah.
they just let you go right to the edge.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, I'm dumb. I'm going to go walk off.
Yeah. I mean, this is America, you know. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah. But beautiful place. There's like this one kid, and the kids can be so. I kind of hate kids. That's why I'm never gonna have any.
Mm-hmm.
But like this one kid, she was like maybe 8, and she just kept saying to her mom, "This is a waste of time. This is a waste of time." Like
How old was she?
8, and
Oh.
I was like, Grace, I threw her off. But we didn't. Instead, I looked at the mom and I said, "Ha ha ha! She'll appreciate it one day," and that was that. But
Kids can be a bit of a mixed bag. My sister has so many children.
how many?
5.
5?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, she was Catholic.
That means you have to have 5 kids.
Well, they don't believe in birth control
Mm.
or any sort of contraceptive. We're not gonna go into like a whole bunch of details. But her kids are awesome.
That's good. So you're an uncle to nieces and nephews.
Yeah, and they're awesome, and I love hanging out with them. And they wouldn't do whiny bullshit like that for the most part.
I hate little shits. My sister also has 3 kids, which I visited because they live in Vegas and we had to stop through, and they're really great.
It's funny.
I have a Grand Canyon thing that happened to Grace. It didn't happen to me. And I wanted to get your take on this. And I'm
Okay.
pretty open. I don't know what the deal was, but she walked into the women's bathroom, and all these bathrooms are like long lines backed up. So she was like, had to stand in there and wait to get to one of the stalls. And there is a group of 3 women. 2 are in the stall, and 1 is going in and out of the stall and filling up what appears to be either a douche or a portable bidet in the sink and handing it to her friends in the stall. Saying,
Mhm.
"Yeah, take this. Go ahead, have fun."
Okay.
And this is a back and forth process, and everyone's standing there in horror of what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Just using the public sink to fill it up, using it, putting it back in the sink, handing it between 3 friends. Kind of a nightmare. What do you think? Is that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, that's very weird.
Yeah. Maybe it's
But-
just a cultural difference.
I don't know. I mean, at a certain point, I guess I've seen enough people doing crazy, weird shit that as long as it doesn't affect me,
It kind of does, though. That's kind of
it?
unsanitary. This kind of unsanitary.
Well, it's a public bathroom. It's not sanitary to begin with.
Yeah, but you're putting your douche or bidet in the sink that other people have to use. That's one step away from peeing or pooping in the sink.
I guess I just have always operated under the assumption that that is just the state of public bathrooms.
It is.
That
It is
there's
gross.
pee and shit covering literally every inch
Yeah.
of every surface in every public bathroom, because I have worked in places that had disgusting public bathrooms before when I was in high school and college. So that doesn't surprise me and doesn't gross me out
Okay.
because I'm already prepared for that.
Okay, that's fair.
But that's just me
Yeah.
and my own trauma
I mean,
from having to clean up
I would just probably think,
projectile shit.
I probably just think that. See, I couldn't do it. There was times when I worked at Best Buy when they'd tell like the loss prevention people or the warehouse people that they had to go clean the bathrooms. I'm like, you should quit. It's not your job to clean up poop or puke.
Can I tell you two of the worst stories that have ever happened to me in a job?
Let's go.
This was one of my first jobs. I was in 9th grade in high school, and I worked at a water park. And that job was awful
You have to go fishing.
because I was not a lifeguard. I was in park services, which are the people who take the trash out
Great.
and clean the shit up.
So you were a
So-
janitor.
Yes. Yeah. Park service is a nice way of saying it. So I'll start with the grossest story. Was my leads one day came over and they were like stumbling and laughing as they came over to me, and they told me they had a job for me.
That sucks, dude.
It was brutal. And I walked into the stall and it was shit everywhere. It was all over the toilet. It was all over the back wall. It was all along the walls. I don't even understand the physics of how this happened. Like, I can't. It wasn't. Somebody didn't smear it.
It was sprayed.
This was a natural occurrence.
You never had projectile diarrhea where it's a shotgun?
No,
I never shot.
I mean,
I never like bent over and just like shotgunned the wall, but
I guess I never thought that diarrhea could be like that. I mean, this person probably got into the stall, pointed their ass from
They-
the middle of the
they got
stall to the
scared.
back, and it just went
they
everywhere.
got scared.
It was
yeah.
the grossest thing.
It's probably
that-
all over them too.
grossest thing I've ever had to do. But
Why didn't you walk out?
because I was in 9th grade, and I felt like my parents would like look down upon me if I quit. And when you're in 9th grade, you just feel like, oh, I guess this is what life is like. You just have to clean up shit, and you're not totally wrong.
No, you're not wrong. I do feel like there's I might walk out. I would.
Now I absolutely would.
Yeah,
Even by the time I was in college, I would have just been like, no, I quit.
sure.
But I was in 9th grade, and I felt like I had to do what adults were telling me to do.
Yeah, when I worked in when I worked in the hoagie shop, they were like, "Go plunge the toilet." Someone left a dinger in there. I'm like, "I'm not doing it." It's, no, have fun.
I wish I had
Then
that.
eventually the manager had to go do it.
Yeah, I didn't. I was very insecure. I had no self assurance when I was in high school.
I was
so,
insecure as fuck, but like it was my gross. I'm so grossed out by poop
yeah.
that topped it.
The other time at that park, I had to. Somebody took a shit in the big wave pool, and I had to go in and fish it out. And it was the most embarrassing moment of my life because
Did you go in?
they cleared out the wave pool.
You had to wade into it.
I had to wade into it,
Why don't you have a pole?
and it was I mean, this is a huge. This isn't like a regular pool. This is like a 100-foot wave pool. Those massive wave pools.
How close did you have to get to it?
Oh, I had to walk right up to it.
You couldn't just use a long stick. I feel like you're getting really unsanitary walking in poop water.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it wasn't poop water. It was a shit.
Yeah, but that little shit bunnies are going
No,
everywhere.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But if I was 10 feet away with a pole, would it really have changed all that much?
It would have for me. Then
No.
you don't have to have it this close to you. You're not smelling it 10 feet away.
Well, I fish it out, and they had cleared out, and there's hundreds of people in this pool, and everybody was standing around the side, and I picked it up, and everybody started clapping, and I wanted to fucking die. It was the most embarrassed I think I've ever been. I had to have people clapping for me for picking up a turd. That place sucked, dude.
Where was it?
It was a water park called NRH2O. It was in
NRH20.
DFW.
What do you think about Disney adults? I'm getting a lot of videos about Disney adults on my TikTok feed, and
Explain what this is.
people that like their thing is Disney. They like not just the Disney properties, like the movies and stuff, but they go to the parks on a regular basis. They know everything about like the new releases at the parks. They know all about like they make videos and stuff about the food there, and that it is just their thing to go to Disney.
That's a little weird.
It's a little weird, right?
Yeah, it's not the most weird, but it's a little weird for your hobby to be
My
obsessed
my
about theme parks.
doctor he told me like his yearly vacation is Disney. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like I thought you were cool.
Oh
Like
man.
I just can't imagine. Like you get one trip every year and you're like, can I go to Disney? It sucks. I like it one time, but I've gone back and I'm like, this is why am I here again?
I haven't been since I was a kid, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's cool.
I mean, you should go as an adult, get to see some of the stuff. It's fucking ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, but for me, the idea of a vacation where you spend your time walking around in the heat, surrounded by a ton of people waiting in lines,
Waiting in lines.
paying exorbitant prices, like I don't
Dude.
understand how that's a fun vacation.
It's not fun.
I want to go somewhere quiet that looks incredible, where there aren't a ton of people. I don't like crowds, so that's part of the reason I don't want to go to a theme park.
Yeah. We were hiking in Zion, and Grace is like, this might be unpopular, but I wish everyone else just didn't exist because it's like so busy that it's hard. You don't get a moment of peace. And like,
Yeah.
we would get to the end of these hikes and see the beautiful views, and like all of the great spots are being taken up by people that are maybe influencers and want to take a bunch of photos. And we waited up at some of these for like 30, 40 minutes. And like, they're hogging nature by doing their photo shoots. And eventually, like, I just went and sat down next to someone because I was like, I want to enjoy this view. And they're like, looked at me. I was like, hi, like, and then they moved their stuff. I don't feel like I was being an asshole. I was just like, I wanted a place to sit. I wanted to enjoy the view. I wanted to soak it in. Man.
I think probably to have really good nature experiences, you have to do difficult hikes that influencers aren't going to do.
You have to do things that are not in a national park, because even the most difficult hikes at those places are like buses full of people at a time getting off to go do them.
Yeah. I don't know. Me and Leslie went to Colorado, and we did a bunch of different hikes. And
But was it at a national park? I'm saying national
I don't
parks
know.
specifically are like.
I mean, there's a ton of national parks in and around Colorado.
Yeah, no, but
I don't know where it was.
so
I can't remember.
the way Zion is laid out is like you go to Zion, you park, and then it's basically like one long road through the whole park. And to get to most of the hikes, halfway through that road, there's another road that only buses can take. So you're getting shuttled up with groups of people to one of 9 stops, and they lead to different trails. So like every time you get off, you're with a bus full of people.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, but it was really pretty.
Utah's beautiful.
The kind of nature that it made me want to play Red Dead. In fact, the whole drive to the Grand Canyon, we just listened to Red Dead music, and I was like, I gotta fucking play Red Dead. That was really cool. I will say, like, I paid a good amount of money, like over $400 a night for this fucking ranch, and the ranch was dope. They have buffalo on it.
Cool.
They have horses. They have ponies. They have pigs. They have chickens. They have. We walked to dinner the first night, and a Great Pyrenees just walks up beside us and walks us all the way to dinner. And I was like, "This is fucking awesome."
Cool.
But that was awesome. I love the Grand Canyon. I love Zion. I think if I go back to Grand Canyon, I want to go into it, because you're looking down and you're like, "This is fucking massive." I just want to go down in there. I think you can. I think there's ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways is donkeys. I ain't riding a donkey. I can't ride a horse. I'm too big. So like, that's not happening. But I'll figure out something maybe.
That's interesting. I've never been to the Grand Canyon, but I really want to go.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's immense.
Mm-hmm.
Not the kind of place I would want to live. Like, it's very arid there.
Yeah.
But it is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very big and pretty. While I was up there, I saw my my nieces and nephews. They're dope kids, man. This is like my niece is 8, so she's finally like becoming a little more self-aware and mature.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're bilingual because my sister is married to an Israeli person. My sister is also Israeli. I'm Israeli.
Mm-hmm.
But they speak Hebrew in their household, so it's Hebrew and English.
It's cool.
And when I used to go there and I would speak a little bit of Hebrew, she would like laugh at me and make fun of me. And now she's just like, she tries to teach me. I'm like, thank you. It's very nice. And when we were leaving, she drew us a picture that she gave to Grace. She's like, I drew you this. And then she also drew one for our nephew, who's 3. And he looks at it and he goes, I got you this. Just gave it to us. It's actually hanging up. You can't see it. It's hanging up right there in a nice frame that Grace got. But all in all, fun trips. Glad I got a little bit of time away, but I'm happy to be back in my house.
Yeah.
It's hard to be away for too long, especially I miss my cats, man. And my wife. Of course my wife, but my cats.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I have a question to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're swimming, do you pee in a pool?
A pool, no. Definitely not a pool. The ocean, a lake, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, ocean, definitely. Lakes, can't you get like diseases and stuff?
From
up
peeing
your
in it?
Penis?
I think like in like the Amazon River or something, if you pee in it, there's a thing that will swim up your penis hole.
Mm.
But also, I don't really know why it wouldn't swim up there to begin with. It's not like, there's a lot changing when you pee, other than liquids coming out.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not pulling down my trousers to pee. Trousers, pants, shorts.
Okay, but you don't pee in a swimming pool, particularly with other people in it?
Oh, especially not with other people in it.
Okay.
If I was in my own swimming pool, no one was around, I might pee. When I was a kid, I would pee in a swimming pool.
Yeah.
But no, as an adult, like that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And it's also like it's warm.
Mm-hmm.
So like if someone comes near you, you're like, oh, I'm swimming in your pee-pee.
Yeah, it's really gross, and it's really inconsiderate of the other people around you.
Who are we talking about?
So, my friend, this was last year. We did his bachelor party.
Motherfucker, who is it?
We
Is it DJ?
I'll tell you.
Is it Ben?
We rented a house, and this house had a pool, and we all started swimming. Everything was great. We were having a good time swimming. Next day, swimming more. At one point, one of the people says something that like, "Oh, I'm peeing right now,"
Dude.
and I'm really grossed out by that.
That's
obviously because
fucking gross.
This is a self-contained system.
It's not going anywhere.
It's just dispersing. Like it's going into my mouth.
Yeah,
I don't want pee in my mouth.
The best thing that's going to happen is it's going to like the bleach is going to maybe decontaminate, but you're going to be swimming in pee no matter what.
Yeah,
it's not going anywhere.
And so I was shocked by this.
It's
Adult men peeing in pools with other men. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one shocked by this because they were all peeing in the pool.
Dude, that is so gross and inconsiderate.
3 other adult men all said, "Oh yeah, I peed in the pool."
What?
I could not fucking believe it. I was floored. That
all of them were peeing.
All of them. One other guy thought that was weird.
And did you stop swimming?
Yeah, I stopped swimming.
Forever.
I stopped swimming, and I was like, I'm only getting back in if we have we agree you're not peeing in the pool.
Mm-hmm. It's not so hard to go pee outside of the pool. Listen, it's
really not that hard.
I'm even fine. Like if I had a pool in my backyard, I'd even be like, go around the corner, just pee on the fence. I don't care.
Yeah. You could have just hopped. There was trees
just don't
everywhere.
Want to swim in your pee.
That's what I'm saying. And all of them were thinking, oh, it's just the chlorine will kill it. It's like, dude, that's. First of all, we don't know anything about the chlorine
Name and shame
in this pool.
Name and shame. I know it's Ben for sure.
It's Ben, DJ, and Taylor.
Okay. Of course it is. Of course, Taylor was the third name.
And he was the most egregious offender.
I'm sure he was. He's probably like, I'm farting too and pooping a little bit. It's got a net in there. It keeps it all in. Yeah, man, that's crazy. I like them just a little bit less now. They're not invited to my swimming pool.
Nor should they be.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
If you admit that...
If it's the ocean, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fucking ocean.
You see me in the ocean, I'm peeing.
Yeah.
That's why I go in the water.
Oh man, yeah, I can't handle it. I was shocked.
There is something about swimming that makes you like, I really got to pee a lot. But I do get out of pools. Pools are small.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That ain't right. I have a friend who, when he showers with his fiance, he pees on her. I think that's pretty funny. This is not like a water sports thing. This is just like a pee on her till she notices thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's pretty funny, and so does she. This is not like a weird thing. I mean, it is weird, but to them, it's funny. It's a funny joke. She goes, "I don't pee on me."
Oh man, I was not expecting that. That's amazing.
Do you? You probably don't. I'm just going to start with that. But you know, some phones have a feature where you can send voice texts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever send farts to your friends?
No, but I think I should start
It's
doing
pretty
that
funny.
now.
Like, I don't think that's the gross part about farts is smelling them, but
Yeah.
hearing them, pretty funny. And you're not anywhere near these people.
Yeah, farting is one of the funniest sounds the human body has ever been able to produce.
Yeah, me and Brian go back and forth some days where we're just like burp, 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 and it's pretty funny. I don't know why. It's just fun. I like farting. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
No, farting's hilarious.
Dude, poor Grace, man. I'm like a sleep farter, so I fart a lot in my sleep, and I'll wake up sometimes like, God damn it. God damn it. It's like me waking her up from farting.
I think everybody sleep farts.
Yeah. I feel like maybe I do a little bit more than most
Probably.
people. But
I probably do too, but Leslie sleeps right through it.
yeah, that's good. Lucky you.
Yeah.
I'm not so lucky. I get slaps. Hey, like farting. Oh man.
All right. Well, I'm glad I feel a little bit vindicated about pool peeing because that is crazy.
It's insane. No one should be peeing in pools.
You know what? Taylor specifically asked me to ask you because he thought that
He
you
thought I
would
would
be
agree.
a pool peer.
First off, me and Taylor wouldn't agree on anything.
I'm gonna ask this person if I can include this story
Mhm.
because this is their story.
Mhm.
But this question has started a temporary, like a brief firestorm at the Rooster Teeth office
Okay.
because it spread throughout the office and everybody was talking about it. The question is the following situation weird?
Okay.
Okay, that was our original question, and we can get into the nuances of this after I tell you the story. Your close personal friends,
Mhm.
they are a married couple.
Mhm.
The male is a cousin of yours,
Okay.
so you're not related to the female. You go over to their house for the first time, their new house, and the wife asks, "Would you like to try some of my breast milk?" And then she says, "If you do try it, you get your name up on this chalkboard."
What is this, fucking little Woodrow's? We drank all the beer? Get the fuck out of here. What are you fucking talking about? Is this a real story? Or
This
is
is
this
a real story.
hypothetical?
No, this is a real
Is this on,
story.
like Reddit or
This
something?
really happened to somebody.
Someone you know?
Yes,
Oh my God.
this really happened to Brandon.
And they
I'm
tried
gonna
it.
ask him. He tried it.
What an idiot! What an idiot! That's so disgusting.
Yeah, and he didn't. He said that he didn't think that was that weird.
That is so fucking weird.
So weird.
Dude, that is disgusting.
Yeah, it's super weird.
If Grace was a mother and she asked me to try her, I would never try it. And that's my wife. That is disgusting.
Now, okay, There might be a world in which I try it.
Someone else's other than like Leslie's?
Maybe. I probably not, but maybe.
Ew.
No, I mean it would be gross and weird.
Ew.
And it's a weird situation. But that was the contention, was that was not abnormal, that whole situation.
I just don't like the idea of consuming someone else's product.
No, it's really gross.
And this kind
It's
of
strange.
It's a weird dissonance because without getting too graphic, like fluids are exchanged between partners all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem. But food? I don't want that. I don't want food that you made.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah.
You know, like breast milk does gross me out too. Like when I open the freezer at my sister's house, I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. Close the freezer. I don't want to see that. Like even just seeing it, gross. That's probably like I need to be more mature. But
No, I think people are grossed out by what they're grossed out by.
Yeah.
The breast milk doesn't gross me out. I don't have a visceral reaction to it.
There's
Just like, oh, that's breast milk.
there's a prank that people do where they're like, I'm going to trick this person into drinking my breast milk on TikTok. And I'm like, that's a crime. It probably is an actual crime,
Yeah.
but don't do that.
Yeah, that has to be against some law somewhere.
Fucking nightmare. I have two things I want to talk about
Okay.
before we talk about video games. First off, have you seen John Wick 4?
No.
That movie sucked. And I like the other John Wick movies. I think they just ran out of ideas and choreography.
I like Keanu Reeves. I've been pretty lukewarm on the John Wick movies in general. I mean, they're cool.
I think 2 was my favorite.
They're fun.
I liked the first one. Then 2 came out. Like, damn, that was good. And 3, I was like, okay, this is all right. And then this one came out, and man, it's 2 hours and 50 minutes long.
Oh my god,
it's so fucking long.
You can't get away with a movie like that unless you're really putting together an interesting plot.
And I might be crazy, but I feel like the choreography in the first few movies was way more like punchy and fun, and this one like it kind of feels like haphazardly thrown together. And in the third movie, they got those fucking suits where they're bulletproof, and so this whole movie, everything he's doing, he's like hiding behind a suit like this so he doesn't get shot in the face. I'm like, this is the whole movie. If you watch it, you'll just see him the whole movie doing this. Like, this is really tiring to watch.
Yeah.
Stop. And then, of course, everyone in the fucking movie has those suits on. So like every time someone gets shot in the body, it's like bink, bink, bink. Like, dude, this is so fucking annoying to watch.
It's a bummer because I feel like what John Wick had going for it was, of course, it was a little ridiculous, but they grounded that ridiculousness with relatively realistic gunfighting.
Yeah.
And people that were well trained and knew how gunfights played out.
Yeah.
The fact that like you're not going to get shot even in a bulletproof vest and just stand there like nothing happened. It hurts like a motherfucker.
No, it was like a BB gun bouncing off a metal wall. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that force doesn't just dissipate.
Yeah.
Like it still hits you.
Yeah. It was a very frustrating movie for me.
It's a bummer.
Because I liked the first few. But that's okay. Things peter out sometimes. I will say, like, when I was watching Renfield, I was like, this has amazing choreography. So if you want good choreography and violence, go to that one. And it also has mega gore.
Renfield.
Yeah, it's a Nick Cage movie. Nick Cage and Chris Holt.
I don't think I have.
Nick Cage and Nick Holt? Nicholas Holt? I don't know his name.
I'm gonna look that up.
It's a movie where Nick Cage is Dracula, and his assistant Renfield is unhappy with their relationship. It's set in modern time, and yeah, the story transpires around that. And there's a lot of incredible violence.
Okay.
Just over the top gore and fun shit and good choreography.
Okay.
Now, I want to talk about the new sci-fi hit TV show on Apple TV, Silo.
I'm curious to get your takes on this.
I really liked the first 2 episodes. I was enjoying them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts off pretty interesting. Like,
Mhm.
I think right from the get-go, you're like, okay, something is up with what's actually happening outside. So to set up the story, and this is probably going to be spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, don't listen. Um, there's a colony. They're living in a giant silo that's like 150 floors, maybe 100, a little more than that.
So it was like 70 or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
Um, they don't know how long they've been there. They don't know why they're in there. They don't know when they can come out, but they're pretty sure they can't come out right now because they have a camera outside and the camera is showing an apocalyptic wasteland. When people go outside, because if you request to go outside, you're stuck with that decision and you go out and they have videos of these people walking out there and dying. And that's all they know. They don't have any, they had a revolution some time ago where they had to destroy all relics of the past. So they have no link to their history or knowledge about anything that's going on. And so the show is revolving around the mystery of what's going on, why they're there, what's going on outside. Is information being hidden from them? And I think it's pretty clear from the get-go that, like, yes, something's being hidden from them.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what's a red herring and what isn't. But yeah, the first episode the first two episodes sort of bounced back and forth between this character and his wife when they were both alive, and then this character's decision to the character's wife goes outside because she feels that she's being lied to. So she goes outside, and then he doesn't think she's right, and then later on he finds reason to also go outside. And so the first two episodes are sort of chronicling that, and you're between those two happenings, you're like, there's something clearly wrong.
Right.
So what's your take on whether is it really green outside, and are they being killed by the suits? I think so. Or is it like a double red herring where it's like, no, it is really shitty outside?
So I can't remember when this happened. This may have been episode 3. Did you watch episode 3?
I did. I watched through 4.
Okay. Well, I don't remember exactly when this happened, but at one point when they were shutting down the generator, and this is, I think, the 3rd episode or something. And one person's watching the screen. The screen clearly glitches.
Flicks, yeah.
So, to me, that's telling me that the show is clearly suggesting that what is being presented to the people in the silo is not reality.
Right. And
we don't I'm not sure what that distorted reality is or what the actual reality is, but that was my first guess from what you said, that the suits were killing them. Which when the guy took his helmet off, I thought that he was going to survive.
Maybe it just took too long. Like maybe he just had too much of the poison or whatever it is.
There are books about that the show is based on. I haven't read them.
Yeah.
So I could be way off base. My guess is this is like a human experiment.
Yeah.
That's what I think is happening.
Certainly what it seems like.
A lack of elevators suggests to me that this whole structure is designed so that people can't work together very easily, because climbing stairs is, and they outlined us in the first couple episodes, it's a task, like a huge undertaking to go from the middle all the way down to the bottom. You have to hike and
it's
you
like
have to
takes
carry
a
water.
day.
Right.
Yeah. So I was interested in the first 2 episodes. And then the 3rd episode, like, they're clearly showing you that, like, okay, Rebecca Ferguson, this is the main character. Those were just establishing. And then the 3rd episode, like, it's just like, to me, was a bullshit filler episode. But also, like, the problem that she was facing, like, so the problem she's facing is, like, the generator has a bad part, and we need to fix it before I leave because I need to go become the sheriff. But, like, this whole problem that they fabricated wasn't well thought out.
Wasn't it?
No, like, so they have to turn off the generator, but the problem is the generator is powered by steam, and there's a big unknown source of steam below the generator where it fills a giant chamber and then pushes up through the generator, spinning the turbines. And so they close the door to this giant thing where the steam is coming from. They don't know where the steam's coming from. It's coming from down there somewhere. And then the whole time they're like, the temperature is rising. then they're showing like a barometric pressure gauge instead of and I guess there's a correlation between temperature and pressure because if it's I mean it's steam, so but
Yeah.
then their way to cope with that is to spray the door with water.
I didn't understand that part.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, yes, you might be cooling down the door, but you're not reducing the pressure. Like that steam is building up in there.
Mm-hmm.
And also like the room that she's spraying the water from is filling up with water, and she doesn't just climb out because the water is cooling down the thing anyway. Like, what is going on?
Unless the temperature is what's causing the structural integrity of the door to fail, and so by cooling it, it's able to like maintain its structural integrity to keep the steam in.
Yeah, but they're like the temperature's going down, and they show the barometric pressure gauge again.
Yeah, no, I don't get that.
Like, what are we doing? Like, I just feel like there was very little effort put into that whole scenario.
It's a bit hand wavy, yeah.
And when they showed the diagram, the door was on top, and then when she goes to cool down the door, it's like on the side, and it's just kind of like,
yeah,
just believe us, but I couldn't, and I got past that because I watched the 4th episode, and the 4th episode was really fucking boring. Did you watch it?
What happens in the 4th episode? I did watch it. I think I watched it yesterday.
Nothing happens.
Yeah, she's Rebecca Ferguson was just trying to establish herself and get her bearings.
Yeah,
and find something.
The over the top sheriff is over the top angry about everything. I feel so. My problem I'm finding with the show right now is that we know that this season is going to end with them leaving the thing and being alive, right? Almost for certain. Where else would the show be building to?
I don't know. I mean, there is like in episode 1 or 2 where there's that whole weird bottom section.
It's an exit, right? They're like, this is a door that leads to somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know where it leads to, other than this big cavern. To me, I'm just like, okay, I just want them to figure it out. And I don't feel I feel like we're going to be dragged through more filler episodes of, I don't respect your authority because you're the new girl from the lower numbers. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep trying to give it a shot. Like, I'll watch today's episode and see how I feel, but I don't know. I feel like the mystery has been presented to us, and now we just have to wait for it to be like, for them to go outside again.
I guess I haven't been bored by it because I'm okay with like slower burns on mysteries.
I am too, but this one, I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't feel like they're putting in the effort, especially with that 3rd episode.
From the little I've read online, it seems like the show has already deviated from the books in significant ways, which makes me want to read the book.
Yeah. Are people that read the book not happy about that?
They seem not happy about it. And the thread I was reading was spoiler free, but people were like, it's shit. It's nothing like the book.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the first 2 episodes were pretty strong.
Maybe they're dragging it out. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, we'll see.
I hope it gets better, but I'll watch today's episode and see how I feel.
Yeah,
but
I mean, we should finish it.
The whole show?
Yeah.
All right.
So, I think that makes interesting discussions, particularly if I like it and you don't.
Okay.
I think that'll be interesting.
All right.
We can talk about. Right now, we just don't know anything about really what's going on.
No,
And so it could end up being really stupid. And
I can tell you the 3rd episode was pretty stupid. And I might be stupid for thinking like those things don't make sense when they make perfect sense. But to me, it just didn't feel. It just felt like a fabrication.
I don't know. That just didn't really bother me. I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, it is a little dumb.
If it was a little, it was the whole episode.
I didn't think the whole episode was dumb. I mean, they have a blade that's causing issues. They got to shut off the generator to fix it.
Yeah.
The tension part, which is the door failing on the steam. I guess I see that.
Couldn't they just divert the steam through that side door that she opened?
I don't know. I mean, they have to create tension for the scene.
Yeah.
It seemed a little lazy.
It's fabricated. It's yeah.
But the whole show is fabricated.
So is it not real story? It's just I don't know. I guess I should be able to suspend my disbelief, but I wasn't. For some reason, that took me out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You want to talk about other than Slay the Spire? Do you have games to talk about?
I'm trying to think. Do I? I really don't think I've been playing anything.
Okay, I have a big one.
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. How's that?
Man, it is an immense game. It is okay. So to start off, it is the Breath of the Wild sequel, and both in story and in it's using the same map for the base game.
I heard about that.
So initially, I didn't really care about it. I liked Breath of the Wild a lot. I liked it enough to finish it, do all the shrines, collect a few hundred Koroks. I didn't get all of them because goddamn, there's 900 Koroks. I want to say I got halfway there, but I might not have. But I spent a lot of time with it, over 100 hours, which is not for a lot of people. For some people, it's not a lot of time, but for me, that's a good amount of time for a game like that. Enough to do everything besides mess around with all the systems for endless hours. Anyways, so when I looked at when I saw that it was releasing, I didn't watch any trailer because I didn't really care. I was like, I don't really want to play another Switch game. Then I saw the launch trailer and I was like, oh, there's contraptions. This looks pretty fucking interesting. Just because they were showing all sorts of wild shit, and I was like, okay, I'm in. And so the core abilities of this game change. So in the first game, the core abilities, I wrote them down because I wasn't remembering, are Ice Pillar, where any water you can create a pillar of ice that comes out of it that you can stand on, which even at the time I was like, it's kind of boring. Bombs, which again, kind of boring. The big one was Stasis, which allowed you to freeze an object, and then you could hit it 1, 2, 3, or multiple. I think it was 3 or 4 times was the maximum amount of force you could apply to this object, and then when it unfroze, it would fly in whatever direction you were hitting it, which was the interesting power of the game, I would say. And then there was another one that you didn't really use a lot called Magnesis, where you were able to basically control blocks that were made of metal. You were kind of like Magneto, but those blocks were very specifically placed. They weren't all over the world. It was kind of a limited power. And then in the DLC, the last power they introduced was motorcycle, which is pretty cool. You had a motorcycle that you drove. And in this game, they got rid of all of those powers. And the big one of this game is called Ultra Hand. Sounds really stupid, but it's cool. So what it is you are manipulating objects. So it seems like it might have come as an offshoot of Magnesis. You're manipulating any object in the world, and then you can stick the objects together. And the reason that's interesting is because they give you tools to create contraptions and vehicles and stuff. So, for example, a basic contraption would be something where you have a plank of wood, you attach 4 wheels on it, and put a fan on it. And then you can stand on that plank of wood and go straight. It becomes more interesting as you unlock more devices. As you progress the game, there are these core building pieces or contraption pieces called Zonai devices. And those can be things like rockets, fans, wheels that propel themselves, gliders, control devices, and then so as you unlock more things, the devices that you can build become more and more extravagant. I'm still more in the basic camp of devices. I'm early enough on where I'm 35, 40 hours in, and I'm still not building the craziest shit. But I've seen people build stuff like Metal Gears on there.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so the way it works is you pick up whatever the object is, and you hold it near another object, and you click A to attach it, and it shows where it's going to connect. So it's pretty forgiving and pretty straightforward, and they make the whole process of using Ultra Hand pretty easy. You could rotate and push and pull objects with relative ease. So the majority of the game is using that tool to create contraptions that will get you from point A to point B to solve whatever the problem is, and that's really fun. I have not even come close to scratching the surface of all the things you can do, and I'm trying to avoid seeing what people make in the world because it's I want to come up with those ideas on my own, but at the same time, I'll see things like giant walking penis man, and I'm like, how fuck? What is this? What is this fucking game? And it's really fun. And there doesn't seem to be like any limits on the size of something you can build, at least not that I've encountered or come close to. So as long as you have the pieces, you can do some pretty crazy shit. And so those Zonai devices are generally, you'll find them near places that you need to use them. So you'll find like a stack of fans and gliders and maybe a control stick all within an area because you're like, I need to use these things to get up to that place. But there's also these like gotcha machines where you put in some currency. It's called Zonai charges that you can use for yourself to extend your battery life, which you use to propel those devices that you make. But you use those charges to dump into the gotcha machine, and they'll spit out some portable Zonai devices that you can keep in your pack, so that when you're out in the world and there isn't a supply, you can pull out of your pack and be like, I have fans, I have gliders, I have everything I need. So the game really does give you a ton of fucking tools in just that one ability. It's fun. And then as an offshoot of that ability, you have something called Fuse. And that allows you to take any object and fuse it to your weapon. And that can be a rock. It can be another weapon. It can be a monster part. It can be literally anything in the game that you could pick up and manipulate. You can stick to your weapon or your shield. Or you can also shoot it with your bow and arrow. You can attach it to an arrow before you shoot it. So at first, what that creates is like, oh, there's a sword. I'm going to stick it to my sword. And now I have a sword. And so you literally just have a sword sticking off the edge of your sword. And you're like, cool. Dumb, but cool.
Do you get to control where and how it fuses, or is all that predetermined?
The fusings are predetermined.
Okay.
And it's literally generally like you're sticking it to the end. Or if you do it on your shield, you're sticking it to the outside. That's it. But cool things it can create are like you take a stick, you take a rock, and now you have a rock hammer, and then you can use that to smash rocks. That's pretty common, and that's something you'll do a lot. There are also Zonai devices where, like, there's these flamethrowers that are just spitting out flames. So you stick one of those in the end of your sword, and now when you're swinging your sword, you have a flamethrower on the end of your sword. Then you look at what you can attach to your shield. Again, anything can attach, but on your shield, you're like, oh, there's a mine cart. I'm going to put a mine cart on my shield. And then you do that, and in the game, you can just jump and surf on your shield down a hill. But with the mine cart, you have wheels, so you're able to go a lot further and on more terrain. So, like, you're flipping onto basically a mine cart instead of just your shield. You can attach a glider to your shield, so you can do that same flip down a hill and then just be gliding down a hill. It's fucking like
That's really cool.
I haven't even
It's very interesting.
There's so many materials and items that you could fuse with.
Right.
I haven't scratched the surface because like I don't know what to do. So a lot of times with the weapons, with the game still has a durability system, so your weapons are still going to break.
I hate that.
I hate it too. And in fact, in this game, because of the story, what's happening is there's something called the Gloom, and the Gloom has made all of the weapons in the game less durable. So durability has become even more of a problem. But with fusing, the seeming justification for that is that with fusing, you give your weapons a little bit more durability and an added effect. So everything you fuse to a weapon has a value for how much attack power it's adding on as well. So every monster part you get, you can fuse to a weapon. Every weapon can have one fusing. But so it's basically encouraging you, like, don't just use the base weapon because it's going to break really fast. Stick something on it and see what happens.
Right.
Which is at least a better justification than in the first game of like, shit's just going to break. These weapons are just weapons.
Yeah.
So I like it a little bit better in that sense. And I haven't run into too many issues where I'm like, I don't have enough weapons, because even if you have the shittiest weapon in the game, you can stick on something with high attack power, and now it's a really good weapon.
I appreciate a gameplay reason for durability. I hate durability in games.
It doesn't make me like it anymore.
Right.
But it is, at least now they're giving it a reason.
Right.
Which is good. And then, like, with your arrows, you can shoot any of these materials or even Zonai devices as well, and those also create something cool.
Interesting. It's a cool system.
it allows for so much experimentation, and eventually I'll probably look into like what some cool things you can do are, because there's like hundreds and hundreds of materials that you could fuse to a weapon. Most of them just add attack power, but who knows what the fun hidden things are. Then there's two other powers. One is reversing an object in time, which is okay. I mean, there's moments. There was one moment that I found where, okay, I have to set this up a little bit. In the beginning of the game, something happens where things are ripped out of the ground, and now there is a section of the map where there are floating islands all over. So now there's 2 tiers to the map instead of just the base tier. So you're already getting like a little bit more map to explore than you did in the first one. And to be honest, I don't remember almost any of the map from the first game.
Oh, really?
It's pretty big.
Okay.
And they've repopulated it in a different way. So like it's not like it's the same enemy placements or anything like that. So it's in all the items and all that are changed. So in a way, it's like exploring a new map because the parts have been ripped out. There's new enemies. There's new enemy varieties. All that. So, anyways, as you're walking around, shit's falling out of the sky like giant rocks. You're like, why the fuck is this giant rock falling out of the sky? Like, can I put these together somehow? And then I had a moment of like, I'm so stupid. I can stand on this rock in reverse time, and it brings you all the way up to this island. So there's like a lot of like, when you see a rock falling out of the sky, you're like, I'm gonna go stand on that rock. Like,
that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And you can use that ability to like, if someone throws something at you, you can stop time and throw it back at them by reversing the time on it, which is fun.
Man, that seems like so many cool systems.
It's a big ass sandbox.
Man, I can't. I struggle with open world games.
I'll tell, like, this is one of those games where it has direction, but most of the game, in fact, all but a few hours of my time with it have been like, I'm just walking in a direction and I find something to do. And that's really fun for me.
Yeah.
It's really addicting. Like last night I was like, okay, I'm going to go do the second temple so that I know what the power is and I can talk about it. Since last night, I've probably played like 6 hours. I still haven't done the temple because I got distracted. I should bring up also the last ability you have is you just go up through the walls, through the ceilings. And imagining designing a game around that ability is fucking crazy. Especially...
What do you mean, go?
So I'm going to cave. I go inside a cave and there's a roof. I go through the ground. And wherever that takes me, that's where I land.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. And they've added these cave systems to the game that were not in the first game. Where like you'll jump down a well and you could be down there for 2 hours exploring. And at any point in that 2 hours, you can decide, I want to go up. And you can go up. And this was a tool
Bizarre.
It's crazy. This is a tool that was created, a power that's created because it was a dev tool where when they were building the caves, they were like, I need a quick escape. So they would just shoot straight up. And they were like, that's fun. We'll just make that into the game. And now it's like a core ability in the game.
Weird.
It's so weird. And I like, it's one of those powers that I forget I have until I'm like, oh, fuck, I can just go up. I'm going to go up.
You like having that ability? I feel like that would ruin an experience for me.
Not even, because like every time you do it, you're like, they designed so much of the game around it. You're like, oh, I found a secret. Or, oh, I can get out of this fucking deep ass cave and I don't have to think about it. I'm just going up. Where's this going to take me? And it lets you like when you go up, you peek out. And if you decide you don't want to be out there, you can hit B and go back down.
Oh, okay.
Which is great.
It's not a one-way ticket.
Yeah. Beyond the sky and the basic map that were in the game before, they've also added a whole fucking underground called the Depths. And I fucking love the Depths. So like the first time you encounter it, it's like this archaeologist guy who's like, there's a big hole in the ground. We gotta go in it. Come. And so you jump in the hole in the ground and it's just like, it's a massive cavern that spans the entire size of the map. I don't know how much of it is explorable. Like a lot of it is explorable, but there are walls in there where you can't go where that doesn't exist on the map. So like, but it is a cavern system that is as big as the map is. Completely dark. and you have these things that you collect, that you, like plants that you throw or shoot on an arrow, and will light up the space. So it's a little bit spooky and a little bit fun to explore, and it's just like it's a completely alien world down there. Like it feels like an ocean was drained, and this was like an underground world.
Interesting.
It's so fucking cool. And down there is where you'll encounter some real horrific shit. Like I don't really like there's new enemy varieties in this game, and I really expect to be like scared in these games, but like when a bundle of hands starts creeping towards me, like blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh god, get me away. It's fucking awesome, and like you know, the whole game can just be ignore the story, go explore. And when there's 3 levels of shit to explore, dude, I'm never gonna finish this game by the time Diablo comes out. So I'm just enjoying my time with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I would, because I really liked Breath of the Wild, but I was like, I don't know how much more of that I want.
Mm.
And I'm glad they got rid of those core powers.
Yeah, I was a big Zelda fan. I loved the, Ocarina of Time and like all of that series growing up, but Breath of the Wild, open world games, I just can't do.
Yeah.
It's a testament to how much I love Souls, like from software games, that I played Elden Ring.
Elden Ring felt very Breath of the Wild inspired in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and the open world was my least favorite part of that game by far.
That's I don't blame you. I get tired of them, and there's ones I won't play, but I do like them. But if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, more than likely this game is not going to change your mind. It feels very Breath of the Wild, but taken those ideas and expanded upon them. Like you look at the old powers of like an ice pillar, great. And like now you're building flying machines that you can fly halfway across the map with, or hot air balloons that you can like. It's so there's so much to it, and it's such a crazy sandbox now, and it was before, but it's just beyond. Like, why would you want a motorcycle in this world when you could build whatever vehicle you want?
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking fun.
That does sound pretty cool.
And the first game had so I'm not the biggest Zelda guy, but in previous games they had dungeons where you would go in, like 4 dungeons, like the Wind Temple and the Mountain Temple. I don't know the names of all the temples, but you go in and be like, you unlock the hook shot. You unlock these abilities that you can now use to explore other places in the world. Part of the formula change was you're not going to need to do these temples in any order in Breath of the Wild. You just do them and you'll get an ability, but it's not an ability that you'll need to use in order to explore any of the other temples or any of the other things.
Right.
So people didn't like that, and I understand why, but in the last game, every temple you did gave you an ability. Generally, like the ones I'm remembering are the ability to just like a gust of wind to send you straight up, or one would like revive you every now and again. So it was nothing major.
Mm-hmm.
And this game has similar. Like the first one I got was a gust of wind to shoot you forward when you're gliding on your glider. But I haven't unlocked the other ones. I'm curious to see what they are. But they have new ones of those as well. But I will say the temples, they were called Great Beasts in the first one, were not very fun. They just like weren't well designed. They felt very slapped on, and they were very short. And this one, the temples themselves don't feel immense, but like I'm working my way up to the Wind Temple, and I just got there, and just like the process of getting there felt like a whole dungeon in and of itself.
That's cool.
So, not the Wind Temple, the Water Temple, but they feel significant. They probably won't have the same rewards that you were hoped for, but I don't know, man. It's a really good fucking game. And I will say, like, when I watched it on the trailer, I was like, this looks ugly. I wish I didn't have to play it on Switch. And then I got it and I played it in handheld on the way home from Scotland. I was like, this sucks. It's horrible. Like, it looks terrible. But then I put it on my TV. And I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah.
It looks fine. And it runs a lot better on a TV than it does on handheld.
Yeah. So. I mean, it sounds like this is more up my alley than Breath of the Wild. Yeah. So I might check it out one day.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, definitely don't play handheld.
Yeah,
definitely
I can't.
Get a pro controller.
Yeah,
play it that way. It's fun. But that's what I'm playing up until next week when Diablo 4 launches.
Do you want to play hardcore?
No.
Really?
No.
I think I'm gonna play hardcore.
That sucks. Now we're not gonna play together. No, because I'm gonna die.
Yeah, that is the point of hardcore though. You die and you're like, fuck.
I mean, I will try hardcore with you at some point, but I want to play the base game first.
Okay.
I like having my character that I go back to.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a throwaway.
I like the stress, the ever-present stress of that all of your progress could be erased at any moment if you're not careful.
Yeah, see, to me, Diablo especially is a game where like it's a power fantasy. I just want to get it as powerful as possible and get as cool as possible.
Yeah, but that sense of power progression is so much more satisfying when you realize like it could all be over in an instant.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but like, you know, I just want to not have to worry about it all the time. So,
That's fair.
what are you gonna roll first? You know,
I don't know. Man, I guess we cut this from the last time we talked about it, but I didn't really like any of the classes.
Mm-mm.
I thought they were all boring.
Yeah, Necro was my favorite, but it was the exact same basically as Diablo
Yeah.
3.
The skill trees are boring.
What a fucking false. Like they're like, it's so you have so much choice, you don't have choice.
No, I might have even less choice than I had in Diablo 3.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I mean, we'll see. You know, my only hope for this game right now is the legendaries,
Yeah.
because some of those, at least what they teased, looked like it had really interesting effects.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
Yeah.
the character customization and you know, I felt like Diablo 3 in general was really weak on the power fantasy side. I never felt like I felt particularly stronger at any point.
Yeah, you feel strong in that game when you're first going through the story. But then when you get to end game, you're like, oh, I'm weak again. Okay.
Yeah, which games like you know, I feel like Path and Last Epoch do much better. Is you start to, I mean, in Path of Exile, it's taken to the extreme where you're just you're a god by the time you get to the end game. You're destroying like screens of monsters at a time, and Last Epoch does that a little better. Like their end game, you start to feel like you're becoming more and more powerful. But I never really felt like that in Diablo 3. So
yeah,
I hope.
I put a lot of time into the end game beta of Diablo 4.
Did you?
A lot, like 80 hours.
Was it fun?
I don't know if I enjoyed myself
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I don't know how much of it was like I just want to see what the end game is because you have to level up to get there.
Yeah.
And all that. And then I didn't really feel like the Paragon system was so world changing, but I don't think everything was in the game when I played. Like the end game beta definitely didn't have any story or anything like that. I don't know how much of. I don't know if it had all of the end game systems in, even though it was the end game beta, but. It's something like I at least want to go back to, and I might do a Necromancer again. So
Yeah. The only class I didn't try was the Barbarian.
yeah, that was a weird class, man. Like
I think I'm gonna play him just because I already know I didn't like the other classes.
yeah, what's interesting about Barbarian is that you have like 5 weapon slots, and all of them are active at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Because like depending on what attack you're using is what weapon you're going to pull out. So I wonder like what that means for the significance of their legendary weapons.
Yeah.
And like because if you have 5 slots and they all have crazy things on them,
Yeah.
seems like you'd have a crazy amount of diversity. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they probably found a way to make that not fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I'm excited. I think like next week we should play on Friday and then talk on Saturday.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
But did you see all the announcements yesterday from PlayStation?
I think I saw a few of them, but what ones stood out to
The
you?
ones that's well, first off, Dragon's Dogma 2. I know I've talked to you about Dragon's Dogma in the past, but that trailer, I did not expect them to show gameplay yet, and they did, and it looks fucking awesome.
It looks cool. I never played the original.
It is so much about that trailer felt so faithful to the original, you know, right down to the really dull color palette.
Mm-hmm.
The animations all looked almost identical, other than like, you know, this is a modern engine, so it looks better.
Mm-hmm.
you're climbing on like all that stuff looked about the same. You're summoning meteors down. You're climbing on monsters. You're climbing on flying enemies' backs. Like it all looked super super faithful, which is a really good sign because anyone who liked the combat in Dragon's Dogma, like there's a core to that game that is so fucking good and no other game has done. And I just hope it comes out good. It looks like it will. And the fact that they're showing gameplay already means that it's probably not as far off as we thought.
Do you think the original holds up?
Yeah, I played it as recently as like 6 months ago.
Maybe I'll add that to my list.
There are some caveats to that. I would get a mod that makes it easier to see it at night because the way they did night in that game just looked really bad and made it impossible to see. And then also you'd want a mod, or you might want a mod for not using stamina when you run, because stamina is like, it's what you use to fight in that game, and walking around the game so you have stamina to fight in is not fun.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I would definitely do that, and maybe also the equipment weight one, because equipment weight's always a pain in the ass.
Workshop mods? Is that where you get your mods?
I think it's Nexus.
Okay.
Yeah. But that game's worth playing. So they also, Bungie announced a marathon game.
I saw that. Now,
you're probably excited about it.
So I've never really been into that extraction shooter genre.
It's like Tarkov, DMZ.
Yeah. I have a friend who has tried so many times to get me into Tarkov, and I just can't get into it because, one, I think Tarkov looks like shit.
It doesn't look that bad, but
it's fine. I mean, it's fine. I guess, okay. I shouldn't say it looks like shit. I should say I don't like realism in games.
Oh, then yeah, you really wouldn't like Tarkov.
I want sci-fi themed stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't like modern military shooters. They bore me. So when I say it looks like shit, it means it looks like shit to me because of my own preferences.
Yeah.
So I put that caveat in there. But the other thing is like it's so slow. I mean, we'll spend.
Did you play it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We played multiple times.
Slow, dude.
You spend like 45 minutes creeping around and then just randomly get one shot by some guy you never saw.
Yeah.
I don't understand the appeal of that.
My problem. Well, first off, I don't know if you ever saw the cheating video, but like
I did see that.
That was crazy.
Shocking.
My problem with it was like we would get a bunch of cool gear, and I was like, okay, what's the fucking point? Now I just bring this gear in to lose it?
Right.
Why am I playing this game?
Right.
I just could not find the fun in it.
Right.
And if I did lose it, whatever, I have plenty more gear. I don't see the fun in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really, the core gameplay loop doesn't make sense in my brain.
Yeah.
But Bungie's a pretty cool company. They make cool shit. I mean, I really like Destiny. I know you have your own issues with Destiny.
I loved Destiny. I have hundreds of hours in that game. I loved it, but I just haven't liked it in the past few expansions.
That trailer was phenomenal, even though it showed no gameplay.
For Marathon?
For Marathon. Just the vibe it set, I was like, I almost don't care what the game is. Like, I'm into this.
Yeah, it's weird that they would make this an extraction shooter. Like, I think the original game had multiplayer, but that wasn't like the thing that made it special. And also, like, aesthetically, I don't think this has anything to do with the original Marathon. I think they're just pulling the IP name.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's their IP. They do what they want with it.
But, maybe they'll break the secret of what makes these games interesting other than to a pretty niche community.
I really, as someone who does not like PvP, I'm getting real fucking tired of PvP games. Especially like PvPvE, which is what this is. That's what the extraction shooters are. You're fighting enemies and you're fighting other players.
Yeah.
Same with DMZ. That dinosaur one that's coming out, that's the same fucking PvPvE. There was this really cool looking aesthetically, like it was like a retro sci-fi aesthetic that was going to be a PvE multiplayer game, and then they're like, we're just going to make it PvPvE instead. And I fucking want to die. I hate it.
Now, okay, there are more than enough good, great, even single player games.
I don't want single player. I want PvE.
Okay. Well, there's also that. There's plenty of those.
There's plenty of these.
Yeah, but none of them were good. That's the problem.
Man, people would argue that Tarkov's pretty good. People would argue that DMZ's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand why people like Tarkov. I just don't.
I
like
just
it.
want the option
Yeah,
to just do PvE.
yeah, that's true.
What's that one game? The one by Crytek, Hunt Showdown. People fucking love that game. I love the
I
aesthetic.
actually do like that game.
I love the aesthetic. I love the art design. I love the guns. I love everything about it. Besides the other players,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's not the option.
What don't you like about PvP? In these
I'm not
kind of
competitive.
Games? Yeah.
You know, I hate. I just like every time I encounter another player, I'm like, I'm not going to win. So what's the point? I can win, but like I just like there's something in my brain that just like hates competition.
Man, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
I really like competition. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Man, that
But
sucks.
I do like Bungie games. Like I loved Destiny. I don't love it anymore. I don't.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah. They're coming out with a new expansion. That was also announced. I didn't look at it at all. Did you?
Yeah, I mean, I've played every expansion the last few years, and multiple of the smaller seasons. I think that game's in a really good spot. It's really fun to play. They're still doing some FOMO shit that I hate, but they're curbing that a lot, and they're giving players, like for a long time you had to log in every day to get mods and check the mods so you can get the right stuff.
Yeah.
And in I think this season or the last season, they were just like, okay, we're done with that. Everybody has all the mods.
Still have it with like Zora is still like if you gotta get this fucking gun from him, it has the best rolls ever. It's like a weekend.
Yeah, it's like 4 days though. Yeah. That to me is not that egregious. Like just log in and go wherever he is.
It's not egregious, but you look back at like Gallarhorn, where it was like, oh, the second week of the game, Gallarhorn is here in Zora, and no one thought it was good, and then like it never showed up again.
Well, so there is all the weapons that exist in the game can be eventually farmed.
Gotcha.
Now, it's a grind if you want to unlock them, but like you have the ability to farm every item in the game now. Because when a new expansion comes out,
include exotics?
Yeah, when a new expansion comes out, all the exotics from the last raid go into the like vault area where you can.
When did they add that? Because there's a couple of those guns from those raids that I would never get.
They added that like a year and a half ago, maybe. Azure doesn't even sell those like the raid exotics. But all of those guns rotate into the vault where you can grind for the currency to like buy them, basically.
Okay.
And then all of the armor exotics, when you get your character up to a powerful enough light level, you can run the legendary or master lost sectors, and they have a really high chance to drop an exotic in a specific slot every day. And I
remember that.
Yeah. I believe it will drop ones that you don't have up until you have all the ones in that slot.
Gotcha.
Now they're really hard.
But does that include like Legend of Acreus and those guns that came from those raids that are
the lost sector was just armor exotics.
Oh, armor exotics. Okay.
The guns. I don't believe there's any gun in the game that you can't attain.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that.
But attain those guns without going to those raids?
No, I mean I don't believe there's any gun in the game that you can't just grind for from the vault, other than if it's current, like just released raid.
Got it.
In which case, you have to raid a whole bunch to get them.
Yeah.
And the drop rates are really low.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to Marathon to try it.
Yeah.
I'll always try it. They know how to make a good shooter.
Oh yeah.
There's one thing they know how to do is make guns feel real good.
Yeah. So. There's nobody that does it better than them. It's pretty crazy.
They also announced a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I know you're not a single player guy. Those Metal Gear Solid 3 was the one I did not play because I didn't have a PS2. And man, I'm excited to see what they do with it because I fucking love Metal Gear. I think Metal Gear fans all love Metal Gear. It's a really dumb thing to say.
I don't think I've played a Metal Gear game ever.
God, that's crazy. It's crazy. Well, they're also coming out with a Metal Gear Solid collection that I think is just going to be the first 2 games, probably. To me, 2 and 4 were my favorites. 4 especially. And 5 was great. But if you don't like open world games, you'd fucking hate 5. Even though 5 was like one of the earlier sandbox open world games. I was like, this just has so many fun tools to play with.
Yeah.
And has so much character to it that it was a really big divergence from the first 4 games. Like it was not, the story wasn't even complete really, but the gameplay was as good as it ever was in 5. But yeah, I'm really excited to play both. I mean, I could go back and play 1 and 2 on older consoles, but it'd be nice to play those as well. And 3, I've never played.
I wish I could get into them
They're
because they
fun.
seem awesome. I don't know what my weird mental block is with single player games. I just start playing it and I'm like, okay, I'm bored,
Yeah,
and I hate that.
that's a shame.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, especially because Kojima, these new ones are not going to be Kojima at all. But he just put so much character into those games.
Yeah.
Like there's so many little things, so much detail, like down to just like the very minor sound effects, like between going through menus or switching weapons, like all just sounds. It's so good. But that's exciting. They showed a trailer for Final Fantasy 16, another game you don't care about. I'm looking forward to it. It looks really good. Like just aesthetically, they've changed. It's a little more dark fantasy.
Is this is single player?
Mhm.
Okay. I guess I don't know enough about Final Fantasy to know is the MMO going to get a new version ever or
No, I mean, so there was 11, and then there was 14.
okay.
So, I mean, theoretically, maybe it's the next one.
Wait, so you mean 11
11 was MMO.
11 14 were MMOs. Okay.
Yeah. But, mostly, other than those 2 games, the other 14 games have been single-player games.
Mhm.
I don't know. Action RPG looks really fucking good.
Yeah.
I liked 15 a lot. I think people had some problems with it. I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy guy, but, like, man, it looked really good. It had a ton of character to everything it did. Like, it's kind of like the whole game was like a road trip, basically, like an open world road trip for the most part, where you're driving around with your buddies, and they just had like a lot of great character building, and it's just a really charming world to play around in. And this new one looks like a dark fantasy Final Fantasy. Looks fun.
Okay.
What else was there? Alan Wake 2, another game that we're both too scared to play.
What was that?
Alan Wake 2
Alan Wake? I don't think I played Alan Wake.
is a scary game. I mean,
okay.
Thing is it's not. So it's by Remedy, the people that made Control. I think we talked about Control being too scary.
I guess I always thought again,
Alan Wake is a semi horror game.
it bums me out because single player games like hardly even hit my radar.
It's crazy.
But the name Alan Wake does not evoke a horror game in my head.
Yeah, so
I thought this was like
I didn't play the original because it was too scary, but I believe the story is that he's an author, and he's a horror author, and like the things he writes about start to come to life. And like the main mechanic of those first games was like using your flashlight to block away the monsters.
Oh, okay.
So it was like scary, but not necessarily like a horror game, but for people like us, too scary. But I still might look at this next one because it kind of like has some not Lovecraftian vibes, but something close to like something close to that, something close to like Stephen King vibes. They also announced Helldivers 2. The first one was way too fucking hard, but this one they completely overhauled it. Like it looks like a regular third-person action game instead of like that. I don't know if you remember Helldivers 1, but it was sort of like a top-down, more simplistic art style game.
Vaguely. I read the books.
There's books?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is the books?
They're fine.
Is it called Helldivers?
Yeah.
Did they dive into hell?
I don't know if the game is the similar concept, but the concept in the books is that the whole Earth is destroyed, and so all the rest of humanity just lives in airships that fly above the atmosphere the whole time.
I don't know.
Which that's the conceit of the books, at least.
Yeah. Okay.
And after a while, you're like, okay, really? For 150 years you've been doing this? I'm sure.
Yeah. Never land once. And the last one, or the last 2 I've written down is the new Ass Cream, which is how I refer to Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
it's apparently going back to like, how it moved in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. It became like an open world RPG. They're moving back to like the more traditional structure of the games where you're not going to have long drawn out combat sequences. It's going to be, you're going to be able to go one shot people with your knife hand. I don't really like Assassin's Creed. You probably don't like Assassin's Creed. You don't like single player games.
Yeah, no, I actively dislike Assassin's Creed just because I don't like stealth games. I don't like stealth games.
Damn, you'd really hate Metal Gear Solid, but it's a good game.
Probably why I've never played it.
I'm with you. I don't really like stealth games either.
Yeah.
Except Metal Gear. Because Metal Gear, you kind of have a little more, especially in 5 and 4, you have a little bit more control over how much stealth you want to do. And then lastly, Talos Principle 2. All these games that I'm excited about, I'm like, you don't...
It's starting to make me feel bad.
Yeah, I'm like, man, you really suck. But Talos Principle was a great puzzle game. I really like puzzle games.
Oh, okay. That's the other genre I absolutely will not engage with.
Really?
Because they make me feel stupid because I can't figure them out.
Oh my god, bro. You should play The Witness.
I hate puzzle games so much because they make me feel so stupid.
Which puzzle games have you tried?
I don't remember. The
Portal?
Witness was the one that I did play Portal, but it was really hard because I'm fucking stupid.
God, you're stupid.
Was The Witness the one where you were like walking? It's like a very calm puzzle game. You're walking around. I hated that game.
Why?
Because I was stupid.
Oh my god, that game was so much fun.
I don't have, when I don't understand something, I have a really hard time. So in that game, from what I understand, the point of the game was you kind of wander around, you see a puzzle. If you can't solve it, you're supposed to move on and come back later. And I hate that because I'm like, I'm here. I should be able to solve this. I should be able to figure this out. I don't want to fucking come back. I'm already here.
Yeah.
But then obviously I don't have the information to solve it. So I was like, this game is stupid.
Oh man, that game is so creative and good. Oof. Well.
Okay. Listen. I'm gonna try some single player games.
What are
I'm
you
gonna
try
to get into it. I don't know. I want you to help me.
Neo 2.
I can't, we already talked about Neo 2. I can't do Neo 2.
Why?
I told you because it's so. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
You're dumb. You're dumb. It's so good.
I got into the game, and it's like one of those games where it gives you all the fucking tutorials and controls all up front, and I really hate that.
Well, that's like a very Asian.
I know. I dislike that.
But we could co-op it.
Yeah, but I didn't really like the combat.
The combat is so good, bro. Oh man.
I like combat where the floor is a lot lower. Because I'm dumb.
The floor is pretty low in that game.
But it's not like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is like, here's a sword. Swing it.
I really wish you would. It's one of my favorite games in the past 10 years. It's so good. But okay. I don't know.
I mean, I started doing the first area. And one, I'm not crazy about the art style. And that's a big thing for me.
Did you get killed by the Enki, the big monkey guy that jumps up in the air and throws a spear at you?
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I'll sneak past him, and then I did that, and I was fighting other enemies, and I just was like, I don't like this combat. I feel like I have to choose between high, medium, low stance, and I don't want to.
I don't like stances either, but like
figure out when I'm supposed to do what. Like I just want a light and heavy attack, and then combat that builds off of that.
Yeah, it's a real shame. It's so good, but I mean, I can't make you like something you don't. It just is what it is. I don't know. You tell me what you're going to play, and then I'll see if it's a good one.
Well, I mean, we should pick one of the games off one of this, like one that you're excited about, and we'll play it together.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is the one.
That'll give me motivation.
That game, I am so fucking excited for. But that's probably like 2 years off at this point.
Yeah, we'll find something sooner. I think if we're playing something not together, but like as part of to discuss in this podcast, that'll give me motivation to like finish it.
Final Fantasy comes out in like 3 weeks. It's probably too soon after Diablo, but I am really interested in that game.
I really don't like Final Fantasy.
Well, you told me to pick one.
I did.
We'll figure it out. The last thing I wanted to bring up was, dude, you see that new Gollum game?
Oh my god.
A fucking disaster, man.
It looks so bad. It looks so bad.
there's like that one. There's one tweet that went around that was like, if I had to sum up my thoughts on the Gollum game, this promotional screenshot versus the actual screenshot is a pretty good example. And the funny thing is, like, the promotional screenshot doesn't look great. It looked pretty bad, and I think everyone thought the game looked bad to begin with. But somehow the final product ended up being so much fucking worse.
All of the promotional stuff leading up to the game's release looked terrible, and the only way that game was going to be anything good was if the game was wildly different than what they had showed.
Yeah.
And it went the opposite way.
Man, I was looking at it last night, and it was on Steam, a brand new Lord of the Rings game on day one of release, sitting with mostly negative, with guess how many reviews?
I don't know, 200?
12.
Oh my god!
I'm really curious what it is now, but it was like none. Hold on, I'll pull it up.
Holy shit!
Gollum Steam. It now has 121.
That is bad, dude.
32% reviews. 32%
really
score.
bad.
Yeah, I have not played it, so I'm just going based off the critics. What I've read is like the first good chunk of the game, you're just doing chores in a mine.
I was shocked when I read that in-game lore is locked behind a DLC or a paywall.
DLC. There's a deluxe edition of the game that includes the lore and includes emotes. Emotes for your Gollum.
In a single-player game.
And also language. Elvish, right?
Oh my god. Yeah, the Elvish voiceovers were locked behind a paywall.
What a fucking disaster. The good news is the same people that made this game, Daedalic Entertainment, they have another Lord of the Rings game in the works.
Oh, good.
So hopefully that will come out as good or better.
I'm sort of over my interest in Lord of the Rings.
Man, that's a real sad thing to hear. But
yeah, I mean, I love the movies, I love the books, but I just what else is there? There's no more story there to tell. We're just revisiting the same shit over and over.
Personally, I couldn't care less about more story. I want a good multiplayer game set. Like, I want a new MMO, basically.
Yeah.
I never really played Lotro, but
I didn't either.
I could really get down with a good RPG in that universe.
Yeah, I think I'm just a little burnt out on high fantasy because there's been so much of it, and so much of it has been bad.
Yeah.
I would be really much more interested in any other type of fantasy MMO. But I mean, I would still play a high fantasy MMO.
Yeah. Last thing, we talked about book club last time we were on here. We talked about From a Buick 8. Still want to do that?
Yeah, I already read it.
You already read it? Okay, I haven't read it yet, but it's on my list. So when do we want to talk about that? Next podcast or 2 weeks from now?
I think 2 weeks from now, because we released the episode where we said we were going to do it last week.
Okay.
So that should put us a month out.
Okay. So From a Buick 8, if you want to read that book.
Yep.
It's not as short as you said. It was 13 longer than the Revival in terms of audiobook.
Yeah, I guess I remembered it being really short. It's not.
That's fine. I'm okay with a little bit longer. That's all I have. I feel like that was a lot.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
It's fun.
Goodbye.
Glad to be back.